Hey, young girl, we are back with a new episode this week. I want to start by saying thank you to who all have been watching, listening, sharing, commenting on the platforms. The podcast is streaming on Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon, YouTube, and on Instagram, or wherever you search for your podcast. Search for Hey Young Girl. And again, thank you. Today, I want to talk about something I heard Oprah say just recently. She was saying how, she had been mountain climbing and hiking and things like that, right? And she was looking at the fact that where you are in the journey of the hike, and you look up and it's like, oh my God, I have so far to go. And it just seems like it is, you know, the hardest task. You'll never get up there. You don't know if you have the endurance or the strength to keep going, you know. And she said she thought about something. A lot of people, like when they're scared of heights, they'll tell you don't look down. But in this instance, she was like, it really empowered her to look back and see how far she had come, to let her know, within herself, to motivate herself to say, hey, look how far you came from, when you were down there thinking that you were too weak and it was too far and the hike was too high and you don't know if your legs was going to make it. But you did, and you made it this far. So now that rest of the way doesn't look as bad or as hard to you, because you look back and see how far you've come. So today I just want to touch on that a little bit. A lot of times they say, don't look behind you in the past and stuff like that. That's not where you're going. You're going forward. So keep your eyes forward focused, right? But sometimes it does help to look back to see your growth. A lot of times it'll seem like a lot of the things that you've been working on, the goals that you're trying to attain for yourself, you know, the way you are trying to grow within yourself, your education, the way you handle things, the way you handle pressure, the way that learn new things, and just in general, you can take all of these little moments and kind of put them together and say, hey, when I was 2-3 years ago, this same situation might have broken me, or it may have had me down for a week or so. I was so heartbroken, or I thought I was just in so much of debt, or a loss, a grief. I never thought I would overcome it, right? And then you look back at how in a low you were or whatever, and now look at you now. You smiling. You didn't maintained your job, or you were able to pay all your bills. You know, you stop partying, or as much, or whatever the growth is, whether it be small or a major growth. You know, sometimes it helps to look back and see where you came from. Journaling even helps with that. you know Also, when you are tempted to feel shame about something that you overcame at one time, or something that you had to go through without any of your doing. For instance, like if you were a child or a teenager or something, and something happened to you, right? And in present day, they may have people that want to go and say, oh, remember when you were like this, or remember when you was behaving like that, or remember when you had got that record, or remember when you couldn't pass that class, or you didn't graduate, or whatever it may be, when you had a temper, or whatever, when you was sick, or when you was overweight, you remember when? And then you tell them, yeah, I remember. And I'm just so proud of myself for the way that I handled it, and the strength that I had to overcome it. And look at where I am now. Don't allow people to shame you for what is your life, or things that may have made you feel less than, or you were weak at a moment, or you were vulnerable and you shared something with somebody that you thought was, in confidence, and that person ended up telling the world or whatever. Don't feel shame. You thought you were in a safe place, right? And you thought that you could be vulnerable with this person, and come to find out they were wearing a mask, and they were just obtaining information so they could use it against you at a later time. So I mean, don't let those type of things shame you. Be grateful for the fact that maybe, this person showed who they really were. That way you can move them on to the side as somebody that you can't trust. So use that supposedly shame or supposedly hate, that's supposed to stop the growth, stop you from propelling forward, and use it as fuel so you can stay motivated. Use it as the fuel to make you stronger when you feel like quitting. Keep going harder, because they would love for you to think that you're still in the same place that you were, and they don't want to see your growth. Y'all heard that new Dolce song? I'm forgive me if I'm saying it wrong. Go girl, I think it is. Get up girl, get on up girl, something like that. Take a listen to that. You know, she says it just so beautifully, how, people try to take things, when you're also in a good place, you're elevating, you're growing, and they want to take and make you look back and say, remember when you did this, and that, and the third, versus all of your accomplishment, all your present day accomplishments. So when you are looking back, don't let it take you to where you're shame or you feel guilt or anything like that. Be proud of yourself for where you came from and the person that you were then, that was able to carry you to the person that you are now. Okay? Look back to see how far you've come, not to dwell on the past of what was. You can't change any of that. Stay in present day, stay focused, and continue your journey forward. Because you know what? You handled that back there. So this up here, that's going to be lightweight. Okay? And I'll see y'all next week. Bye.